According to Rebecca Roach, I quote, "There are already a number of psychoactive drugs that distort people's senses of time. So you could imagine developing a pill or a liquid that will make someone feel like they were serving a 1,000-year sentence. Uploading the mind of a convicted criminal and running it 1,000,000 times faster than normal would enable the uploaded criminal to serve a 1,000-year sentence in 8.5 hours. This would obviously be much cheaper for the taxpayer than criminals' lifespans to enable them to serve 1,000 years in real time." End of quote. But what about the opposite intervention? In my dirty mind, that was my first association, which would enable me to make love for 10 minutes and experience it as doing it for 1,000 years. How would such temporarily manipulated life look? How would it be experienced? In short, does this, our imagining of the consequences of the manipulability of our perception of time, only along the lines of how it could render serving a prison sentence more productive? This made me very sad. Like, wonderful prospect, manipulating our experience of time, and the first association is how to make prisons more profitable. Does this not provide an extreme example of the misery and limitations of our imaginations of future? This limitation is, I think, clearly perceptible even when we are dealing with critical dystopias. Fred Jensen was right to emphasize how dystopias that abound in recent blockbusters, Elysium, Hunger Games, and so on, although apparently leftist, presenting a post-apocalyptic society of extreme class divisions, are non-imaginative, monotonous, and even politically wrong. This limitation affects the very core of traditional Marxism. How? A voluptuous lady from Portugal once told me a wonderful anecdote concerning herself. When her most recent lover had first seen her fully naked, he told her that if she were to lose just 1 or 2 kilos, her body would have been perfect. But then I gave her a sad lesson. My answer to her was that, of course, if she were really to lose the 2 kilos, she would simply have looked more ordinary. The very element that seemed to disturb perfection, like you are slightly overweight, this very excess of weight created the illusion of the perfection it disturbed. You get it? Like, would be perfect, but you need 2 kilos too much to appear that without them you would be perfect. If you really lose the 2 kilos, you are ordinary. It is at this level, I think, that Marx made a mistake, different in the way. He perceived how capitalism unleashed the breathtaking dynamics of self-enhancing productivity. Recall his fascinated descriptions of how in capitalism all things solid melt into thin air, of how capitalism is the greatest revolutionizer in the entire history of humanity, and so on. On the other hand, Marx also clearly perceived how this capitalist dynamics is propelled by its own inner antagonism, contradiction, obstacle, whatever. The ultimate limit of capitalism is, as he put it, capital itself. But I think Marx's mistake was to conclude that, like, we can get rid of the obstacle of the capitalist antagonism, the form of capital, and just get the self-increasing spiral of productivity without the capital form. Like, he thought, exactly like the lady who thought, if I get rid of 2 kilos, I will be really perfect, that he can get rid of the form of capital, but still maintain the self-propelling productivity. In short, what Marx overlooked is that if we abolish the obstacle, the inherent contradiction of capitalism,